Welcome back to the Colorado Springs Business Podcast. My name is Andrew Hasley, and I am the host of the show. Today we have on Mike Beck. Mike, can you tell us in like a quick sentence or two, I know you got a lot going on, but a quick sentence or two what you do?
Well, I'm half of a brain, basically, working with my business partner. She's in charge of everything e-commerce. I'm in charge of the business development agency, business success agency, which is Marketing Plus, but I think we're going to have time to dive in.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. All right, so we'll do that shortly after I read the advertisements for the show. Today we are sponsored by Vehement Visuals, which is my video production company. We really help tell businesses stories and in a compelling way, but also it's in a very what's the word? A way that really helps you build a deeper connection with your prospects, audience, and also sales tools. It could be a sales tool and automate certain processes with your business, and that's what we do. We do that through video. We focus on strategy, and our goal is to not just make a pretty video, but to get an ROI for your investment. Mm-hmm. And that's almost redundant, an ROI for your investment. And return on investment for your investment.
Very necessary,
yes.
Actually. You know, as a marketing company, we work with tons of customers, small and medium businesses mostly. And many of them don't have anything video. And so how do you want customers to understand who you are? Because there's more to a message than just the words, right? There's the tone, body language, and all that stuff. So yeah, what you do is very necessary.
For sure, yeah. And like you said, it also helps build that connection, like in a way that no other form can. And especially when you know what you're doing.
So tell us about your business.
That's my
Andrew?
business.
No, I mean in terms of results. So what do you see happening with your customers when you? What's the difference between before and after having videos?
Well, we're still a new business, so we're still working on that. I can see that people are connecting with them. Just at a networking event I was at earlier this week, one of my clients was there as well, and someone we were talking to, we were kind of like helping each other out by like talking about each other's businesses as well. That's kind of teamwork in a way. But someone had seen their video and they wanted to, they were interested in what she did, and it works for me too as well, because if they can see the video and they feel that connection, then it kind of proves that it does work as well. Yep. So it's kind of like it works for both of us. So I would love to go back and look at some of the results and like really dig down into that.
Definitely. And I don't mean stealing the show and asking you questions.
Okay, yeah. No, you're good. You're good. That's what I like about these. This is just the advertisement part. I don't think anyone does advertisements like this. Like if you get an advertisement on this show, I'm kind of talking about the advertisement and reading an ad script. And also there's a guest who can bounce off of that. Yeah. So it's like, that's a unique way of advertising, I think.
It definitely is.
Yes. And so that's the first ad, is for Vehement Visuals. If it wasn't for Vehement Visuals, my company, this show couldn't exist. Yep. So they're a big sponsor of this show. They as in me.
You're the big sponsor.
Yes. And so the next ad actually is the sponsorship for the show. It's if you'd like us to read a 15-second to a minute-long ad script about your business or just promoting anything you want, we can make that happen. Reach out to cosbusinesspodcast@gmail.com to learn about that, and cool things might happen. Guests might have some ideas
and bounce
off. Yes. So I'd also like to promote the Patreon account that we have for the show. There's going to be bonus content on it. I need to catch up on that, and it just allows extra people who really want to help support the show. It allows them to do it in a unique way as well. And there's also just extra stuff you get from that. And that's patreon.com/cosbusiness. And if you're listening to the audio version only of this, go subscribe onto YouTube to watch the video, because we put a lot of work in the video, making sure it looks nice.
Yeah, and you see how awesome we look.
Yes, exactly. That's important. So yes, that's all the ads for today. I'm going to roll the intro music, and we're going to dive into the interview. This is a show where we have real conversations with entrepreneurs and business owners who are mostly in Colorado Springs, doing things in the community of Colorado Springs. Yes. And that is the intro.
I love it.
Yes, thank you. So, Mike, how's business been?
Well, it's a wonky year. That's the least we can say. Some business have thrived, others have gone missing completely.
Yes.
You know, for example, we have big ownership in a limousine company in Athens, in Greece. Sorry,
What kind of company?
Limousine company.
Limousine? Okay.
We have a travel agency in Greece as well, and these two are just like that.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do about it.
For sure. Is there a resurgence coming from that yet? Or is it still dead?
It's just dead because
it's
there's
completely.
no way these companies can survive for a month without customers. You know, you have the cost of vehicles and everything. It's not like it's a very profitable kind of business, right? Everybody who works in transportation can tell you it's not super profitable. So I think it was probably a good thing, even though it hurts a little bit.
Yes.
But at the same time, we have other businesses that really thrive because of the pandemic. Well, not because of the pandemic, but because of the situation, like people...
The change of demand.
Yeah, change of demand. Like people buy online. So we have an e-commerce part in our business that my business partner, who's also my wife. I was smart enough to marry my business partner, I would say. She's in charge of it. And I'm in charge of business development and the business success agency. Even though we work together, we lead different companies. So on her side, it's been thriving like crazy.
Okay.
So we had this kind of contest, on my side. She said, "Oh, I'm making so much more money now than you." I said, yeah. Thank you. Yes, of course you do. Yeah. So
for sure.
So that's what the pandemic brought us. And a very different, a big shift, I would say, in questioning how do you run your business. For us, of course, but for our customers as well. Because the business success agency, we do marketing, but as a consequence of coaching, which is basically what do you envision for your business? And when everything goes well, people just don't ask themselves this question, right? I'm making money, business is good. Why would I, start thinking of, well, what could be my next step? But when business goes bad or the whole situation becomes crazy, that's when people start asking themselves, all right, what do I do now? And that's where we came in the game with solutions, And
yes.
But the solution, I like saying that we dig into your minds, knowing, tell me what your business is gonna be in 10 years from now. Tell me how much money you're gonna make. How many employees you're going to have, where you're going to work. You have your channel, you may be working here, but maybe also in New York, and why not in Kuala Lumpur? Everything is possible. So it's just asking people this question. And so many people start a business without even asking themselves this question. I just want to, make money, thinking about the next quarter, the end of the year, how much they have to pay for their mortgage. And this is totally irrelevant in business. See? So
it's also, that's kind of a higher vibrational kind of way of thinking as well. It's focusing on what can be and what can happen.
Yeah.
And then that's when that helps drives motivation, that helps clarity, helps with excitement. And,
especially excitement. I mean, everything comes from that, right? I was born in a communist family, sort of. Well, non-practicing communist, I would say.
Okay.
So communist for others, not for us.
Okay.
And in a socialist country, so we didn't have money, basically. And then I became a teacher myself. So it's only after years of wandering in life and thinking, well, this is extremely boring. What can I do? And then I started working on myself. Just like what we are doing with our customers. I traveled the world, went to China, I went to Africa, I went to many different European countries. In 2016, we moved to the United States.
Okay.
Barely speaking English, and it was
Both
hell
you
of
and your wife?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yes, both of us. Like I talked to my immigration lawyer, I didn't understand anything of what he was saying.
Okay.
Like maybe 15%. All right, I'm just going to trust the guy.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes, right?
For sure.
But this is it was hard. My wife was born in a communist country, a real one, in China. She was born in northern China. at a time where you could not leave the country. It was impossible. It was extremely poor and everything. And still, she managed to get out of it and study in Paris, and that's where we met.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so we are the proof that yes, you can change, you can turn things around like you cannot even believe. And that's what we do with our customers.
For
Just
sure.
seeing the bigger picture, get out of your reality and go into what you want to see happen.
So how before you came to America, where were you at before?
Oh, Paris,
Okay.
in France.
Paris.
We lived in Paris, beautiful apartment in the Golden Triangle right next to the Champs-Élysées. It was really an awesome life. But France is a terrible country for business.
Okay.
You know, like most socialist country, but this one is worse in the sense that when I was a kid, we still had these shows about having ambition, you know, and creating things, and that all disappeared. If you talk about ambition, it's a negative word over there.
Oh, okay.
Not for everybody, of course, but for most people.
Kind of like a general cultural kind of thing.
Yeah, and because you have big state, you know, big government, they put their nose in everything. And so you have tons of regulation. You know, there's 134 regulations on a toilet seat in Europe.
Okay.
That just, you know, tells a lot. So products are better quality, that's for sure. But for running a business, it was so terrible that, you know, I told my wife, I said, you know what? If we want to keep running businesses, we get the hell out of here. I don't keep doing it here. I had gray hair, you know, like it's almost gone.
Okay.
And I'm not putting a collar. I mean, I just had gray hair, high blood pressure and everything. So that was...
You're stressed out.
Yeah, oh yeah, I really did. So we had three options. The first one was, well, because we didn't want to go too far. So we looked into England.
Okay.
But man, the weather,
Okay,
the
yeah,
food
yeah.
and everything, I can't deal with that. That's impossible. We tried
Especially
Luxembourg.
if you're going to choose, you might as well choose the best.
Exactly. So, and then was China, but my wife didn't want to go because, as she says, because I'm a foreigner, I don't have to abide by all the cultural rules that can be pretty heavy, but she has to. And she said, I don't want to do that. So that's how we gave a shot to the States, and we came to Los Angeles 3 times, actually. We hated it every time.
Why so?
I mean, it's just the whole thing, you know, it's the city is horrible, the weather is nice. And but then the third time we met with the right people and we decided to move. And that was pretty interesting. But still, Los Angeles, my wife didn't like California at all.
Oh, wow.
People are very superficial.
Yeah, there's that part, yeah.
That was the key issue. I mean, the rest we can deal with, but that was difficult. So after about 2 years and change, 2.5 years, we dropped the house, we bought an RV, and we said, let's go live in a trailer. I told my wife one day, how do you feel about living in a trailer? Said,
That's kind of like the new American dream, too. you
yeah,
know?
exactly. People say, I'm going to do it when I retire. And said, you know what? Because we don't like California, there's probably a good place in this country that we're going to love. So let's jump in an RV and let's start traveling. And
Yes.
because we have tech companies, we can work in the distance. So we started traveling, and we did that for a few months. 1 week in every city we stopped.
Okay.
So it gives us time, you know, to feel the vibe and everything. And we almost stayed in Santa Fe, but I was too small.
Oregon?
Of it, Santa Fe, no, in New Mexico.
Okay.
So not far from here. And then we came to Colorado Springs and said, wow, I love this place. And so we gave it a week, then 1 more week, then 1 more week, and we decided to settle.
Nice.
So
Sweet.
that's how we
sweet.
came here.
And how long you been here?
3 years.
3 years?
A little more.
And in just this city?
Yeah.
Okay. And so when did you come to America, and how long were you running your business before you came here?
So I started. That's interesting question. You know, I was a teacher, as I told you, and so long story short, I made a depression, very deep one, because I didn't have a purpose. From the outside, everybody thought, wow, they have a good life, you know, with my ex-wife and the kids and everything. But inside, it was like hell for me. So a depression, a therapy, and then I changed 2 things. I divorced. Well, I started a business, and then I divorced.
Okay.
In the process, I lost everything, not because of the divorce, but because of starting a business when you're not ready.
Yeah, for sure.
I was not ready. I was a teacher.
You'll
I
never
had
be ready, though, for real.
No, you never be ready, but there's basis, you know, like that,
Yes,
that
yeah.
I really didn't have. So I lost everything. I lost my house, my cars repossessed, and everything. It was terrible.
And the teaching job, was it a good job?
What job? My teacher job?
Yeah, I mean, like good pay or?
No, I mean it's a teacher pay. It's not a good.
Oh
pay.
yeah, true
No,
that. Yeah.
it's not. It's not better in Europe, believe me.
Okay.
No, it was not a good pay, but again, this was not the main factor. Whatever the amount of money, we can live off of it. Right now.
Money wasn't the issue. You didn't feel
no.
fulfilled. You didn't feel.
Oh no,
whole.
no. It was very much something else, something much deeper. So when I started my first business, it was a stupid idea. I was teaching old people how to use computers on the countryside. So I got paid in cheese and vegetables, but that doesn't pay the mortgage, right?
No.
So yeah, I did that and lost everything within 3 years. So 2007 through 2010 was like downslope to hell, basically. And that's when I met Lou. My business partner. We were just business partners at the time. I was not ready for that. I was right in the middle of my divorce. It was really not the time to meet someone. We met at a French-Chinese business conference in Paris where she was doing translations, and I came for my failing business, basically. And we started a business together in Hong Kong, import-export, exporting stuff to Africa mostly. And after a few weeks, just going to get some water.
For sure.
I told her, hey, can you help me with my failing business? And said, yeah, of course. So she started looking into it. And it was a disaster. I mean, I had debts and debts and debts. And every day she was discovering new ones.
Oh, wow.
But we turned things around. So that was late 2010. We started working on it early 2011. And by the end of 2013, we became the biggest in our industry. So,
which was
we were doing high-end training for business owners in the limousine industry, and also the #1 training center for limousine drivers, because we had an excellent training. So that's how we grew from nothing to millions just in 2 and change years, 3 years. Let's call it 3 years, and started expanding, right. So that's the story of me starting in business. But of course, people ask me, so what about the work-life balance? There's none. Basically, I think they're just so intricate, so connected. I cannot say that this time is personal time or family time and this time is business time. It's always business time.
For sure. Yeah.
And so about that. You're running a business, right? So
I'm in that mode all the time.
Yeah, you're not watching TV. Everything I do, every minute of the day, even being here with you, is always geared towards my big goal. I don't do anything that is not related to it, which means no watching TV, no watching sports, because it's pointless. I exercise, so I'm fit, and I'm not that fit, but at least I have the energy. But I mean, everything I do, when I decided to switch to becoming an entrepreneur, was everything I do, every minute of the day, has to be geared toward results. So that was a big change.
I need more discipline in that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the tricky part, right? Is in the beginning, it's a struggle. It's wow. Now, I was used to, riding my mountain bike with friends for 2 weeks or going on vacation for 2 months because I was a teacher.
Oh, yes.
And the last time I took a vacation was in 2014.
Oh, wow.
And I won't do that ever again.
Oh, really?
Oh, I didn't like it.
Oh, nice.
So now when we travel, it's for business. So there's always a mix, when you go to
China.
So
it feels like a vacation, kind of.
Always.
But it's business, though.
But even here, it feels like a vacation, but it's business.
Yeah, yeah.
So even when we go to China, we work with friends over there. So everything happens around the table, not a desk, right? So you eat, you drink, and that's where business happens. So it's a mix of both. Yeah. Always.
So that's actually funny you say that, because I had to go back to Kansas City for court for like some tax stuff, and I had to go back there like at the beginning of the year, like somewhere around February, I think. And so I was like, okay, I have to go back there. How do I turn this trip into something lucrative?
Yeah.
So I was able to close a video deal for $1,000 while I was out there. For court, so it's like, so I was able to turn it into business.
It's always like this, by the end of 2011, because we were both working way too much. I started having pain in the chest, so my wife forced me to go to the doctor, who sent me to a cardiologist. And the guy told me, well, you have two options here. Number one, you can take a vacation. I said, fuck no. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Hell, pardon my French. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to take a vacation. So what's option two? So option two, you die. All right, we're going to go for a vacation.
Yeah.
So we got some tickets, went to the French Caribbean, in Guadeloupe. And the first week was just sleeping, eating, going to the beach and drinking, doing nothing at all.
Mm-hmm.
The second week, we found a business opportunity over there. The third week, we got it started. So, and
Nice.
it brought us like 70,000 euros at the time, which is
Okay.
almost $100,000
Yeah.
for going on a vacation. So that was a pretty
Nice.
lucrative vacation.
Nice. So how do you find a business opportunity like that?
I think we just open to ideas
Mm-hmm.
and whatever comes up. It's a two-step process. Number one, we do business without being involved too much, time-wise. You see, doesn't mean we're not involved because with customers, we bring value. We are here when they need it, but we also know how to organize it in a way that other people do the heavy lifting. So when an opportunity...
Outsourcing and automation?
It's hiring. We do some outsourcing. We definitely do automation, but I don't believe in that when it comes to business success. That it's very much a matter of coaching people, but we also work with amazing coaches that bring a lot of value to the table. So that's the number one thing. So that means basically we can run 10, 20 businesses simultaneously because we are at work pretty much 15, 17 hours a day, and we work with smart people, much smarter than we are.
For sure.
So that's the number one thing. And then when something shows up, with experience, you kind of know, is that something that is scalable? Yes and no. Is that something that is profitable? Yes and no. And then is the person we're going to do it with the right fit? And that's usually where the problem is.
Yeah. You got to get that right fit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for everything business, you get it pretty fast. Like I really wanted at some point to jump into tiny house construction, have a business doing that with like a different approach to building tiny houses, something, lighter, more modern and cheaper as well. But it's not scalable and it's not super profitable. So the idea, when I have about 100...
Could it be super profitable though?
No way.
Did
no
you
way.
already did the math
It depends.
on that?
It depends what you expect in terms of
make
profit.
luxury tiny homes or something like that.
Yes, but still, I mean, even if you do that, you're gonna make maybe $20,000-$30,000 in profit on a tiny house. How many do you need to sell to make $1 billion? I mean, it's just not scalable enough.
For sure.
So gave up on this one. And then other projects, they are interesting. There's definitely a way to make them scale really big. But then the person you start working with, it's just not the right fit. They don't share this excitement, and if they do, they don't share the commitment. You know, like I did once a business with someone, and the guy left for 2 weeks, without even telling me on a vacation. And then you have customers calling and everything, and says, "What the hell?"
Yeah, not good.
So this is definitely not. You can't run a business like this. Well, you can, but you cannot scale it. And as I told you, my goal is the billions. They are not here yet. They're coming.
Yes.
But I cannot get there if I choose bad projects
For
or
sure.
non-profitable.
And keeping that goal top of mind when you're looking at different kinds of
Oh, yeah.
projects helps you
Permanently.
optimize for that goal.
Totally, yes.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, this is a great business opportunity. You can make $1 million. Like, during the pandemic, for example, we have connections in China that allows us to get products out of the country when nobody could, right? You want a plane of masks, we can get a plane of masks. And there was some money to make in this thing. The problem is the people who ask for that were not the kind of people I would trust at all.
Yes.
And I need to leverage some contacts over there in order to make that happen. So my point is, I may have been able to make $1 million, $2 million.
On mask alone.
On mask alone. But it was definitely not worth the cost in terms of reputation.
I was about to say, yeah.
That's the thing. And
Reputation is huge.
I mean, there's people say your network is your net worth.
Exactly.
So that's true here, but it's nothing compared to how true it is in countries like China or Europe. It's very much about that. Even in Africa, the things we do in Africa is just all a matter of network, and people know that they don't need to sign a contract with me, because whatever I say, I'm gonna do.
For sure.
And whatever I do, I'm gonna say. So, people we work with in Serbia, same thing. They know now. They don't even send me a contract anymore. What we agree on, we're just very clear on what we agree on, and that's it.
For sure.
So it doesn't work this way here. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's much of a contract country.
I had guest sign a model release. I still probably should, but
for the podcast?
For the podcast, yeah. Just to cover the bases and make sure everything's good. But I just I ran out of papers and I just haven't printed off more of them. So
yeah, I won't sign in anyway.
Yeah, okay.
It's fine. But you see what I mean. I mean that's about business. So I told you, I think in my email or something, that there's, for example, a project talking about what project we choose. I do mentoring with the SBA, SCORE, free mentoring, but I also do it online on Facebook with young entrepreneurs in India and in Africa, mostly, French-speaking countries in Africa, because I discovered they have, the new generation is so different from my generation. My generation is in Africa was people expecting the government to fix things and get money from Western countries and all that stuff. The young generation, they don't care about that at all. They just want to start building Africa for real. And so I got three in the beginning, but there's two remaining young entrepreneurs, one with experience, one who's a teacher. And they kept telling me, Mike, we want to work on raising chicken. I said, oh gosh, I don't want to hear about I work in technologies and stuff like this, and you want me to become a farmer or what? Not that I disregard that, but I thought there's no money to be made in farming. That was my point. Not enough, and a lot of work, a lot of liability and all that stuff. So, but they kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and one day they just sent me the numbers, and the numbers are awesome. So,
okay.
Yeah, just listen to this. You buy an egg, that was fecundated by a rooster for 160 francs. It's just a few cents, 160 francs. You hatch it, and 3 weeks later, you can sell the baby chicken for 700.
Oh, wow.
160 to 700 in 3 weeks. Now, you raise the chicken to an adult chicken, like 45 days. You can sell the chicken for 2,800. So only in countries with high GDP growth like Africa and like China was, 30 years ago, that's the kind of numbers you can expect. So when they told me that, I said, all right, that's interesting. That's definitely interesting. Now, how do we make that happen? And we've been working, back and forth with these guys for the past few months, because I also want to test their stamina, business stamina, I would say, endurance, like how will they take the heat when things are frustrating? I always do that. And one of them dropped out, which is sad because it's going to remain poor. And I told him it's not about, not doing business. I don't care. But it's, you wanted to go out of poverty. That's how you do it. It's not by going and hang out with your friends. It's not going to help you. Or go to church. I mean, I have nothing against that, but that's not where you succeed. Right? You succeed by doing. It's just about doing. And the other two are still on board. So that's how we are getting started to become, and that's the goal, to become the number one producer of chicken in Africa.
Okay.
With the first purpose is feeding the population because they have a lack on protein. That's the number one thing, and then exporting it out to China, who needs a lot of food, and even Europe, where the way they raise chicken is sometimes, questionable, to say the least. So that's a different approach. And I told them I'm all in with one condition: is that we gift a baby chicken to all the kids in the schools in the villages we work in, and a farmer comes and teaches them how to raise the chicken.
Nice.
So we can show them. Yes, you can make money. Yes, you can put food on the table. That's, I think, the most important thing. Really, I always tell my kids there's nothing more important than knowing how to make money, because everything else depends on it. Everything.
For sure.
So
nice. So what would you say have been some of your biggest challenges in starting these businesses?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. I would say if I go to the root of it, even though I didn't know at the time that was the problem, it's the mindset. It's definitely a matter of mindset. we can only achieve what we can imagine. We can only achieve what we can visualize. And I was not ready for that. You know, my mindset was just like everybody leaving a job.
I gotta hit this.
Oh, so where do I start over again?
Wherever you want.
All right, I'm gonna start over from the beginning on this thing. So at the beginning were the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
No, so the biggest challenge was definitely the mindset, because I had, just like most people when they start a business, you know, when I do mentoring with SCORE, I realize it, that many people are still in the money I make every month kind of mindset, and I spend what I make kind of mindset. You know, I have 5,000 coming in, I'm gonna spend 4,900.
Most people end up doing that even if they don't mean to.
Well, they sometimes even spend 6, you know, or 7.
Yeah.
That's a different question. It's just the way we are programmed. So that was definitely the biggest challenge. The problem was that I was not aware of it. And it took me years and failures and years and failures before I understand that, yeah, my issue is the mindset. So let's work on that, and then everything is going to work just fine. And then that's what I did, you know. And my wife, same thing. She doesn't have all the limitations that I have, even because she was born in China, but her dad had a business, you know, pretty big business in northern China. So she grew up in an environment of money making.
Yes.
So I think that's the key thing. And when I have 3 kids, right? 2 of them with my ex-wife. So they were born in France at the time when I was still a teacher. They are 14 and 16 now. But they grew up the very first years of their life in a family that is not oriented to achieving goals. And, you know, we were just living the life everybody's living, watching TV, going to work and paying the bills. And I mean, normal life, right? The little one was born almost 7 years ago. I have to count sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was born in a very different environment of people running businesses and everything. And it's the kid who went to see his teacher last week and said, you should take more students so you can make more money.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to him, no, well, whether she has 5 or 25 students, she makes the same amount of money. But why would she do that? So this kid, I know, will never have a job ever. He's totally business minded.
His mindset's not even in it. You know?
It's all about the mindset. You know, he told me when he was 5, you know, he said, well, next year for my birthday, I don't want to have a present. I said, all right, what do you want? He said, I want a gold bar.
A gold bar?
I want gold, he said.
Okay.
And then I said, but what kind of gold? He said, gold bar. I said, no, it's not going to happen. 600,000 a gold bar.
Okay.
So it's way too expensive. So he said, well, just give me a little one then. But he doesn't want presents. He wants gold. So you see, he has goals and he knows, he understands how he can achieve them, which most adults don't get. And that's because of the environment we are given when we come to Earth, right?
Well, we go through a society that has trained people to be in the worker mindset. I mean, that's what schools basically do. They teach you to all come into class.
And not just school, everything.
Yeah.
The ads on TV, it's the same thing. You go, you quit you know, stop your job, and then you jump into your car, you go home and you watch TV and you put that much toothpaste on the toothbrush, and it's everything. It's all that environment that we downloaded. And when I came to the States, honestly, I was expecting that everybody had an entrepreneur mindset.
Oh, funny.
That was my vision of the States, you know. And then I come here and I discover that, hey, it's just like France, is no different in terms of mindset. Those that have it, though, have the potential because the environment is built for that.
Yes.
Right?
It's built for it if you see it, if you open your eyes from the matrix.
But you need to, exactly. It's all about the matrix. So
Yeah.
take the right pill.
Yes.
It's going to hurt just like in the matrix, but it's definitely worth it. Yes. So that's what we do with our customers. You know, when I talk about the business success agency, we started with just marketing. So we were doing marketing with our customers, discovering that the key issue with them and why so many marketing agencies fail is not because of the marketing agency. It's because of the entrepreneur himself or herself.
For most businesses, yeah.
For most businesses. I mean, if you don't have a grander vision of your business, it's just not going to cut it.
Well, Apple started to die when Steve Jobs left the first time.
Yeah.
And like there's so many examples of that.
So many. It's all about who you are. So we decide, okay, we're going to keep doing marketing, but instead of just finding customers who have the right mindset, because they're not so easy to find, to be honest with you, especially in small communities.
For sure.
When you're in Paris or in Shanghai, there's a lot more a bigger concentration of these kind of people. That how about we bring this level of awareness through coaching and just helping them, and sometimes it's easy, it doesn't take so much time, but seeing something bigger. And the first question I ask a customer, I say, all right, tell me what you're going to be in 10 years. And I want to know all the details. So what we make them do, for example, is write it down for in 10 years. But write it. I wake up in the morning and I do this and that, and I have that many employees, and all the details, where you live, what you do, where you go on vacation, if you do, what kind of meals you eat, and everything. And you do it for in 5 years from now, in 4 years from now, in 2 years from now, and you just exactly. And so once you're there, you just tell the story, in the right direction from beginning to end, and now you have a plan.
Yeah,
that's the amazing part. So I tell him, print it, have it, just publish it as a book on Amazon. Even if nobody buys it, who cares? But at least you can have a printed version of your story, and now you know where you're going. Believe me. Even people with experience in business, because you may think, I'm still young, and so you don't have that yet, which makes sense. But you can have people who have been entrepreneurs for 30 years and still don't have that. And this is the main difference between success and failure.
I've had it on my notes for 2 months and still don't have it.
See? So that's what we do with our customers. We always start with this. And some people get into it pretty fast. Others, I don't want to deal. I just want marketing. Say, we can do that, but if you want results, that's what you need to do. Then of course you need the skills and everything.
You also got to define what results are, because it's different for everyone.
And it's not just money. Money is just one part of business success.
Yes,
it's a big part. It's the keystone of everything.
Yes,
but that's what I was telling a customer just yesterday, because she's a coach, right? Okay. And right now, she got started last year. She's doing pretty good, and she told me when we got started, I said, okay, what's the bigger vision you have for your business? And then she said, I want 100,000 customers. All right, let's make that happen. And then when we start diving into what it takes to get there, all the actions it's gonna take, the content she needs to produce, and the time between action and results, just like we talked about before the interview. She said, well, maybe 1,000 is good. I said, hell no, that's not going to happen. You said 100,000. That's where we are going. Yeah. Because we are programmed, as you said, by our family, our teachers, the environment and everything to scale down. Even if you work on your mindset, you constantly have this thing that's drawing you back to the family history and all that stuff. I said, I can live with 10 grand a month. It's a lot of money, right? Or 20. Why would I care about?
She's settling for less.
Yeah, but it's and people are going to find all the valid excuses for that. I have a daughter I need to take care of, or I have this, I have that. No, that's just excuses. Every time you make an excuse, that's what it is. You find and our brain is extremely powerful at finding good reasons. Our subconscious mind is tremendously powerful at finding good reasons. I can tell you, I can list the whole wall writing reasons why I should not be in this country.
For sure, yeah.
But I'm still here, and I'm every morning. It's always a fight about my family is 5,000-6,000 miles away. My parents are aging over there. I'm not with them. I'm not traveling much, and all that. I could list countless things. Doing things in French would be so much easier. The French market is so much easier to market than the American market. I could list all the reasons why I should be there. But still, as we said, when you want to go to the moon, shoot for the stars. There's no way you're gonna. If I shoot for the moon, then maybe I'm gonna make it. But when you look, when you think about huge, something that freaks you out, right? Then you can accomplish something smaller. It becomes actually easy. So I always tell people, whatever you decide, you're going to tell your friends, you're going to tell your family, you're going to put it on Facebook. Oh, no, I can't do that. What if I fail? That's precisely why I want you to do it. It's just because now, if it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough.
I did something similar to that, actually, when I started my video production company almost 2 years ago now. I made a video telling everyone, hey, I'm doing video now. That's what I'm going to be doing. I made a video of me doing that instead of just a post, just because, make it extra meta. And I was like, just putting the word out there, letting people know in my small network that I had at the time.
Yeah, and nobody's going to support you because it's just the way it is, Confucius said that when you want to do something, you're going to have against you all the people who want to do the same thing, which makes sense.
And there's people who will support you, but they don't really believe it at first.
Yeah, nobody believes it, and you don't really believe it either. So it just makes sense. So you're going to have against you all the people who want to do the same thing. That makes total sense, right? You're going to have against you all the people who want to do the opposite. That also makes sense. But you're also going to have against you all the people who don't want to do anything at all.
Yeah.
And
I don't get those people.
Nobody's going to support you, and I'm lucky that I met with my business partner and that we ended up getting married because then I'm not alone. And I know that for running a business alone is a struggle, but that's what you do. It's loneliness.
That's what they say. And I agree
it's
with
true.
it.
Even when you start having a team, the first time I got my first employees back in 2008, and I thought, hey, that's cool. I'm going to be able to share the struggle and share the passion. And no, they're not here for that. They're here for the paycheck and maybe to do something interesting. But they didn't take the pill.
It's your dream.
It's your dream.
Theirs.
Exactly. And so when things don't, when things go right, it's easy. When things don't go right, that it becomes extremely tense, extremely difficult. So you're alone, and that's why you want to work with coaches. I think I work with two different coaches myself.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, it's tremendously helpful. There's one is at the Chamber of Commerce of Los Angeles, and a very smart guy. And sometimes I also coach him on some business ideas. But it's just when I'm stuck at something and I cannot find the way out, intellectually speaking, I just call him and just ask a few questions. Boom, problem is solved.
Yeah.
And I do the same with him, So it's interesting.
My coach, my mentor, not coach, but mentor coach, I guess you could say. He told me it's an interesting. I forget how he worded it. I'm probably gonna murder it, but it's like you want like a certain like percentage of people that you're associating with who haven't done what you've done, or maybe in a different mindset, and then a certain percentage of people who are at the same level of what you're doing, and then also another certain percentage that are at achieving higher than you. So you're learning at all different levels all the time.
That's true. But there's one more thing I would add to it is that if you only work with people who have achieved something, whatever the level, then you limit yourself.
Okay.
If you ask Elon Musk, is anyone out there able to tell him, hey, I've been to Mars, right? So I'm going to tell you how it works. No, he's the one creating it.
Yes, exactly. He's making that, and that's why he's one of my biggest influences.
Yeah,
I talk about him often on the show.
Ford is the same thing. Ford used to say, if I listened to people, I would have produced, faster horses.
Yeah.
But no, he came up with the car. So it's just that's how I think. I like to see what people are doing, but this is really not my problem. If you read the amazing book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, that's the book at the origin of The Secret.
Okay.
Everything is in there, and including the fact that you want to leave the competitive sphere, era. Well, everything competitive, and you want to jump into creation. Like, be creative about your business. It doesn't matter what other people are doing. What matters is what you are doing.
For sure.
If you connect with your customers, that's when marketing comes in play, and shooting videos comes in place.
For sure.
How do you connect with customers, and then what do you achieve for them? That's all. There's nothing different.
You just gotta focus on your business for sure. And I think I was talking about it like, there's a different aspect of that when it comes to just learning and stuff like that and seeing different perspectives. But definitely a little bit of delusional optimism is required to be...
Oh, you need to be crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to listen to yourself and say, this guy is crazy.
Yeah.
I would use a bad word, effed up, but
yeah.
It's crazy. And you need to be crazy like this. Do you know Dennis Hope? Never heard of him? So Dennis Hope, in the late 70s, he didn't have a job, and... he said, all right, what can I do? He said, I could work in real estate. And he opens the windows and sees the moon. He said, all right, who does the moon belong to? starts doing some research, no internet at the time.
Yeah.
Discovers that there is a treaty at the United Nations saying that no country can claim the moon, but that's it. So he sends a letter to the United Nations in the early 80s and saying that I'm claiming ownership of the moon. If there's any treaty, anything that prevents it from happening, just let me know. He never got an answer. So he started selling land on the moon with the coordinates and everything. You can buy an acre on the moon for $29.
That's hilarious.
But where it becomes interesting is these guys sold 611 million acres on the moon.
Wow.
In the past 30-ish years.
That's awesome.
He sold land to 5 former presidents, American presidents. W. Bush, I think Nixon bought some as well. So, and I heard about him.
Super inspiring.
Exactly. My assistant in India, we have a tech company in India. She shared something on Facebook one day that she bought land on the moon. I said, what the hell is this? So I started doing my research, and that's how I found out about it. The guy says, I succeeded because I was consistent and tenacious. There was no other reason, because this is typically one of my heroes, because you have to be crazy to claim ownership of the moon.
And crazy to think that you can sell.
And he did. And that nobody's going to sue you, right? But
wild,
he sued people who try to do the same thing, because no, it's my moon. It belongs to me. So he did the same thing with Mars. He sold Pluto for $250,000 to whoever. And one day he received a bill from a guy who claimed ownership of the sun. So he sent him an energy bill of $30 million.
That's hilarious.
So he cannot disregard it, right? Because that would just question his own ownership of other planets. So he took a few days, to think about it, and then sent an answer saying, "Hey, we don't need it. Just turn it off."
Oh, nice.
That was smart. You see, but this is what I call creating a business. You need to be as crazy as Dennis Hope
Well,
do something.
What's crazy, like with this podcast, most people aren't doing in-person conversations. Most people are doing Zoom meetings. Yeah. That's just because podcasts have kind of exploded because of COVID. But they're mostly Zoom meetings. Then I was like, I'm like creating a space. I was crazy enough. I need to get a space downtown Colorado Springs because the business podcast. I have to get it. I had this crazy idea a few months ago. I was like, I want to take it to the next level. If I'm going to reboot this thing, I'm going to do it right. And then like the craziness just got even more. It's like now I'm attempting to do 5 episodes a week with 5 guests. Not only is no one really doing it at this quality, some people are. Some of especially the successful ones. I was also looking at the most successful.
Yeah,
ones.
how do they do it? Yeah.
So I was like, I knew that I needed to go 5 episodes a week. I was like, that's just what I got to do, and like that's insane. Like that's crazy. I think.
Yeah. So who do you want to interview if you had to pick this one person that you want to have sitting here and then talking to you?
Oh, I got a few.
But just give me just one.
Okay, Gary Vaynerchuk for one.
Okay, awesome.
I'd love to have
him
on the show.
Let's just do it.
Okay. I think
I'm going to do it with you, actually, and we're going to make that happen.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to kick your ass until, your butt.
No, you're good. It's okay. I don't mind cussing on this.
Okay, so no kids are watching this, so it's fine.
Well, I mean, we just keep it light, usually. Yeah. We're not.
So, yeah, I mean, and if Gary comes on the show, it's going to curse a lot.
Oh, yeah, and if Gary comes,
I mean, this guy could be like the French guy when it comes to cursing. Right?
Yes.
But yeah, you can, and it's there's no reason you cannot do it. Right now we are looking at a castle in France that was listed 5 years ago for sale.
The job in New York, it was going to be with VaynerMedia.
Oh,
yeah, which is Gary's.
So you see, you're connected to him somehow. So in terms of big goals, we are looking at a castle in France that's for sale, 31.5 million euros. That's 37 million dollars. I don't have that money handy, right?
No, yeah.
I know owning a castle is probably one of the craziest things you can do because it's extremely expensive to maintain. There's difficult to find a business model for it. But I like the story behind it. It was purchased by an American entrepreneur in the 80s. And he remodeled everything. He put $100 million in remodeling in this castle. And this castle belonged to Madame de Pompadour, who was the favorite of Louis XV.
Okay. It sounds familiar.
Oh, yeah. Her name is familiar because she was all in art. She was a very smart woman. In France, everybody knows about her, and so she lived the last 4 years of her life in that castle. So everything is about art over there. And so I got in touch with the guy representing the owner, who's a very interesting person as well. And I know we're gonna end up coming to a deal. I have no idea how. I really don't know.
Yeah.
If you listen to Bob Proctor, he's gonna tell you that you have three types of goals, right? You have the A goals, which is a goal you can achieve. You know exactly how you're gonna do it. So that's not a goal. And that's what most people do, right? They go with something they know they can do. Then the B goals are the goals that you think you can achieve. You don't know exactly how, but you think you can do it. These goals you shouldn't go after either because they're just too easy, right? And then there's the C goals. A C goal is a goal you have no freaking idea how you're going to get there. You don't even know if you can do it. You don't know if it's going to happen.
Elon Musk, he said most of his business, he thought they were going to fail.
Everything is like this, of course. I mean, hey, going to Mars, who's crazy enough to say, well, I'm going to shoot, rockets in the sky and they're going to land back on Earth.
Millions of dollars.
Exactly. Who's crazy enough to think about something like this? This is the things that can happen once you start setting up goals that you have no idea how you can achieve them. And maybe having Gary on your show might be a goal like this. You have no idea. You don't know the guy.
He's actually a number two. I actually do the second type of goal. I do think that I can get Gary on here. So I think that I can.
All right. So you settle for less. What is your C goal?
I think it would be tricky to get Elon on. I think that as a guest, I think Elon would be harder to get on than Gary, just because Gary's more accessible. He lets himself be more accessible,
and he's nicer as well.
I guess he's
because
nicer,
Elon, everybody who works with him and says he's really not that nice of a guy, but that's what people say. Maybe he's a tremendous guy. Nobody knows.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We have a project that we are working on that is typically a crazy project, and I've been thinking of it since probably 2013 or so, which was creating the first hotel on the moon.
Okay, nice.
And pieces come together. I mean, who's going to shoot everything to the moon? Musk, of course. I mean, who else, right? Cannot rely on the NASA. It's going to be way too expensive and take 5 generations.
People he inspires.
Exactly. So, yeah, so it's, maybe that can connect somehow.
Yeah.
You don't know.
I get Elon on, and then he helps you build the hotel.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the whole point. I mean, we have found companies that have 3D printers, huge 3D printers that can actually go on there and start printing buildings.
Yes, I've heard of those.
Before you send people. So, I mean, it is doable. It's certainly crazy. The real reason behind it is, just like Elon Musk says, when you start sending people on vacation on the moon, you make space something easy. When I was a kid, not everybody was traveling with planes. It was still very expensive, but they made it easy for the next generation and other people.
Yeah.
So once it's all about the mindset. You can only achieve things that you can think of, like Dennis Hope and selling land on the moon.
Yeah.
You have to have that idea. And when I read that, I said, I would never have had that idea. I still have a lot of progress to make.
Yeah.
See what I mean? It's not about the execution. Execution is something else, but it's having the idea, having this sparkle that say, hey, I'm going to do that.
That's how I feel about the moon, and not the moon, going to Mars. I really do want to go to Mars. It is a goal. I've even wrote down like 2055 or something like that. Because I think that's enough time.
I'm going to be 81, so it's a little late for me.
Yeah. And I was thinking that, and like I had this idea since 2012, and it's just been in the back of my mind. But then I'm really starting to take it a little bit more serious lately because I've been talking about it a lot more. And so yesterday I was just watching a bunch of videos on like how
that's part of the process. First of all, you dream of it, right? You think of it, then you just say it. And people, when you say, all right, say it now, just say the words. It's hard for them to even say the words because it's so crazy. But when you start saying it, you put it out of yourself.
Yes.
When you start publishing it, online, on paper, something that you can actually see outside of you, it starts taking shape.
For sure.
And now things become possible. I'm not saying it's easy. It never is, but like I told this coach, it's not harder to get 100,000 customers than it is to get 1,000. If you can get to 1,000, then it's just repeating numbers, and then you get.
Yeah, if you can definitely get to 1,000, then I have a crazy business idea. I think it'll work just because it's unique and it'll get publicized and picked up by networks.
All right, say it. Say the words.
I want to work with only people by the name of Crystal.
Okay.
And specialize in crystals.
A crystal company.
Okay, and like make a video like I know what a crystal needs.
All right, so if someone wants to work with you, they can just simply change their name and.
Exactly. And
I'm gonna be Crystal as well.
I'm already working with 2 crystals. That's what gave me the idea because I was working with two talking to 2 crystals at the same time, and I was like, this could be a funny idea that might work. And then, I got like a message on LinkedIn from another crystal just last night. So.
You see? So that's the thing. That's our process in working with our customers. It's basically, first we start with the idea. What do you want to achieve? I want 100,000 customers. Mm-hmm. All right. Fine. Let's just visualize what it is to have the 100,000.
There's a couple hundred thousand crystals.
So you can find them. Now the thing is, and that's where the magic happens, because if you watch The Secret, if you read things about the law of attraction, everything is in your mind and how do you attract things. Well, they fall short on one thing, which is execution. Because and it's in the science of getting rich. They say, you need to have the mindset, you need to have the vision, you need to know where you're going, but then you need to act on it. Mm-hmm. You cannot be a teacher and say, I want $1 million and keep teaching. It just can't work
unless you go online and do like your son said,
but then
and start teaching per client.
Absolutely, but then that is a change in business.
That is a change, yes.
I've seen people here that I know, teachers, and the woman, she said, well, I want to make more money, and then she has, and I can see on Facebook, people are asking her if she would give private lessons, and she said, oh no, I want to spend my time with my family. So that's the thing. You cannot think about something, right? Think one way and act another way.
For sure.
This is why so many people, most of people, fall short, even when they want to change things they're doing, even when they want their business to increase. If they already have a business, they fall short because they don't do things they have to in order to achieve this goal. And it's not necessarily a lot of work. It's just complicated because it's a change. And people, in general, don't like change, right? Yeah. Because change is difficult. It makes you think. And when you watch TV, you don't think. When you scroll through your Facebook feed, you don't think. That's you think when you start acting on things. Then everything comes in question. Well, do I live in the right place? Do I live with the right people? Am I hanging out with the right people? And these young guys that I'm helping in Africa, I told them, these friends you're hanging out with, give up on them. Say, why? They're my friends. Because as long as you hang out with them, you just cannot succeed. It's impossible, because they are the reality you want to live. So you cannot keep meeting with these guys. I understand it sounds harsh, but that's what you got to do. So if you don't want to do it, fine. Just don't think you're going to change anything. There was one, I can't remember who said that, but we are the average of the 5 people we talk to on a daily basis.
That's been thrown around a lot lately. I've heard that a lot, and it's true. That's why it's being thrown around a lot.
It is kind of true, actually. Well, I don't know if it's totally true, but at least it makes you question the people you talk to.
Well, I think what their thoughts. Thoughts are like codes for computers. They get downloaded into your brain and they stick and then they'll circulate. And you can rub off on them. They could rub off on you as well. Yep. But you're only going to get so far, I think. And like as soon as you start changing your circle of friends, you'll start, like, say if you had five friends and you switch 3 of them to millionaires, you're more likely to be a millionaire.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. It's definitely going to make you, change the way you think. Oh.
I'll get it upgraded eventually.
But you were talking about code, and ever since I was a kid, I thought life looks like a video game, right? So when I watched The Matrix, I said, "Wow, that's awesome!" Because that's how I understand the world. It's like a video game, right? If it's a video game, it's made with code. And when you ask scientists now, they tell you that beyond matter, you have zeros and ones and zeros and ones and zeros and ones. It's a code. So if it's a code, you can crack it. Whatever the situation you're in today, you can crack it. You can get out of it because you understand it's just a code. I'm not a victim. I'm actually the actor of it. You may think, and most people think, that whatever happens to them, they're a victim.
You got to put your life on developer mode.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. And start editing everything you don't like.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. And it's cool. Like that goes in with another. Like there's a bunch of reasons why I think this is my first successful business, and success is defined in different ways. But compared to by that I mean it's actually my first money generating in business. I've started lots over the last 10 years that really did nothing. They've a little bit here, but like nothing really. And one of the big reasons I think is because I went from Kansas City and to here in Colorado Springs, where I have no friends or no family. It allowed me to just reboot and kind of just unplug and plug back in, and like see what's going on wrong.
But you could have done that the same way in Kansas City.
I could have.
It's really a matter of mindset, when.
Yeah.
So when we talk to customers, I won't tell them, "Hey, you're in Colorado Springs, you should be in New York." No, you can if you look at big achievements like Microsoft, Bill Gates created it in Albuquerque.
Yeah, and I know I could do it in Kansas City. I was just thinking like one of the elements that I think helped with my success is removing myself from negative influences, and I think that was just a good aspect. I think I'd be easily distracted if I had not moved. Because like maybe my friend wants to hang out, or
back
like,
in your old paradigm.
Yeah.
So, but this is just a part of it. So, and that's important because you have marketing agencies not performing well, and then you also have coaches not getting people results. The main reason is because marketing is action, coaching is mindset. But you need both to succeed.
I also had a coach. That's why I said that's one of the elements. See? They helped that's where I first heard the term limiting beliefs, and they helped break down those limiting beliefs. They helped me see in different ways. So yes, they were coaching me on the mindset, and then also all these other things. But
you got to be willing to take the red pill. Right? It was a red pill.
It was a very expensive red pill. It was more money than I ever spent on anything.
That doesn't matter. Money is irrelevant.
Yeah. What I mean is that helped with the mindset as well, like spending something more than I had on anything else just for coaching.
Yeah, I mean that's of tremendous help. That's definitely the case. I mean, the customers we achieve the most with are the customers who go with the most expensive plan we have, which is like working directly. Cool.
And they haven't updated that yet, so I just got to get it updated. That's all.
So you see, the customers we get the best result with are the customers who pay the high ticket because then they get to work directly with us.
Yes.
With Lou, with me, we really put we get our hands wet. We really get into the business with them, and they are ready for the change. It's also because they spend that amount of money. You don't spend $100,000 and then let things go, right? So you spend that kind of money, you really want to get things out of it. So
and equivalent to energy, that $2,000 could be equivalent to $100,000 to someone else.
The amount is irrelevant. It's totally irrelevant. It really depends on what the goal is. And when I did a TIR coaching, which was I think $8,500. Yeah, $8,500, which may seem like a lot of money. But I would spend $100,000, $200,000 on it when you see the kind of impact it has on you and on your business.
Yes.
Just like, you have to go back and all the things that I had to go through in France and then going to China and learning Chinese in China because they just speak Chinese and all that stuff.
You went to China, learned Chinese, then you get to America, learned English.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And I learned German when I was a teen because my parents had a vacation center.
Okay.
And there was a lot of teenagers and girls, so I just learned German with girls. I went from F, like terrible grades.
You know at least minimum of 4 languages.
I speak 4 languages,
okay.
and I can understand and deal with Spanish and a little bit of Italian, but this is really very little bit.
If you moved there, you know pretty quick.
Oh yes, I mean because it's a Latin language, so that would be very easy.
Yeah, it translates pretty easily from French.
It's the same structure. It's the same origins of the words and everything. Yeah, Chinese was definitely and still is a challenge. I'm not totally fluent in Chinese. I can do everyday life in Chinese, but I cannot do business yet.
So you said you had a story. Did you already tell that story? You said you had a particular story for this podcast.
Did I?
In our messages.
Did I?
Yes.
Damn, what was it?
I don't know.
I think that was the thing about the African projects.
Okay,
so
sweet.
I talked about it.
Nice.
But yeah, you see, for example, we talked about code, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the quantum physics over the past 70 years have discovered you have 1 zeros and 1 and zeros simultaneously, and you can describe everything,
anything,
matter, energy, everything, with just these things.
It's 2 integers.
But that's the interesting part, is that this was discovered by the Chinese over 5,000 years ago. The yin and yang. So you've seen the yin and yang, right? It's the opposites. But in the Chinese culture, you have yin, you have yang, and you have yin and yang simultaneously as well. So that's quantum physics.
Yes.
And they can describe the whole environment, everything with yin and yangs, like the ones and the zeros, the interdependence between things, which is very interesting, because when you work in China, you discovered that, well, first of all, yes and no do not exist in the language. You don't have a word for yes. You don't have a word for no.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's no word, it just does not exist in the culture. You never have a definitive answer on anything, which, when you think about it, is crazy, right?
Hold on. You're saying there's no word for yes or no?
There's no word for yes and no.
That is crazy.
It is crazy. So everything, there's no black and white.
Imagine
it's just a shade of, everything is a shade of gray. So when we start explaining the yin and yang, the I Ching, and all this stuff, which is tremendously interesting. Just Western people cannot get it, because they think in black and white, not in shades of gray. My wife is an I Ching master in training. She's
nice.
working with the highest I Ching master in China.
I'm not sure what that is.
So I'm gonna go back to it, but she's working with a master who's advising big banks in China, real estate investors, like high level, and also working with. He's the guy who told Alibaba Jack Ma to step down from Alibaba, because it was the end of an energy cycle. So it's interesting, because this code is actually written, and the I Ching is the analysis of yin and yang, is the analysis of the code. So that's when it becomes tremendously interesting. The code actually does exist and is written.
The code of the universe?
The code of your life, basically. The first time I met a guy like this, he told me all my life, everything, and it was accurate by the month,
Wow.
He said in October 2003, you had a home accident and you still feel pain to this day. That's the month when I fell off a rooftop in my house.
Oh, wow.
And I still have back pain.
Yeah.
And I mean, everything was just like, it's insane. But now what's interesting working with him is that, how does the law of attraction and your personal will work with something that is destiny, basically, and is already written in a stone. And that's actually defining your character. So when you start working on it and making changes, edits, right? Just like you did by leaving Kansas City, coming to Colorado
Are you
Springs.
saying you can choose your
can
destiny?
change, you can actually change what is already written.
Nice.
But it's a small percentage of people who do that.
And that's where free will comes in, I guess.
What?
Free will?
Free will, yeah.
Yeah.
Free will. I mean, do we really have free will? It's always the question, do I really have free will?
I think you just said that we did.
We can do, but we don't necessarily do.
Yeah.
Because we find all these excuses, What did my family teach me that prevents me from succeeding in business, for example? I think that it's very interesting questions. When you start asking the question, then you start editing the code. Most people won't ask the question.
Yeah, they don't even think to ask.
Yeah. TGIF, too good it's Friday. Let's go for, fishing in the lake. And then every week is the same thing. And a Jeep trip in the mountain. And everything circles around, your Jeep or your mountain bike or whatever you're doing. You're never coming out of the hamster wheel. And you don't realize it's a hamster wheel.
For sure.
And most people we work with in business, when we start working with them on their business, they are in some kind of hamster wheel. And we always fall back, same for me. So that's why we work a lot on this thing, is how do you not fall back into the hamster wheel, and how do you change the results, right? You're not making the money you want to make in your business. You're not getting the satisfaction you want to get. Well, let's dive into that first, and doesn't take much time. But let's dive into that first, and then we're gonna start working on your marketing. People come to you, hey, I want to sell this product. Yeah, we can sell the product, but are you ready for what it entails? In e-commerce, for example. You have tons of people say, "Oh, e-commerce! I want passive income." There's nothing passive about running an online store at all.
Gary says that passive income
doesn't exist. Yeah. It just doesn't. It's just BS, Yeah. So and we tell them, all right. So it means that you're gonna have to be good at finding the products, negotiating with your suppliers, getting things in time, having your products handy, get your branding in place, have a website to sell it, do the marketing, like all the ads and everything. Have a customer service, ship the products to your customers. So you want to make $100,000 a month with it. That's what you will have to do. You can hire people. I don't care if you hire people, but this is all the things you're going to have to do. You're not going to make $100,000 sitting on your couch watching Netflix. No. That's not going to happen.
Not yet. I don't know if that'll ever happen.
I don't see how it could happen. Just because you're selling to people.
But that's one of those ideas, though, if someone can think of it.
But just think of it. You're selling a product to someone. This someone's going to have an interaction with you. Not everybody, but some of them, they're not happy with the product, or it came too late, or it's broken, or USPS lost it, or as soon as you have interaction with people, then you have work to do. Maybe not you, but if you hire someone to answer the phone, you need to train people. Exactly. You need to train this person. You need to give this person the amazement at work that is going to translate into customers' amazement. So this is the tricky part. You can drop ship, but who wants to get a package 3 or 4 weeks from now? When you order something online, there's been a time for drop shipping. Now it's kind of the end. People are aware of that, what that is now. So I order something on an American website, and then I receive a package from China in 4 weeks from now, like a white package. It's like you really feel like you got ripped off.
Is usually subpar.
Yeah, of course, because people choose the bad products. In China you can find the best, you can find the worst.
Yes.
They're making the iPhones. I went in 2009. I remember going to Xi'an, in central China, and they have this huge factory. It's like huge. You can fit the whole downtown Colorado Springs in the factory.
Wow.
And they are building parts for Airbus, Boeing, and ATR. Nice. So you have 3 lines building wings and parts for these airplanes. Like the whole wings are produced over there.
That's why it's so big, because they're making big products.
Exactly. That's the reason why. So you can find the best things, you can find the worst things. People who run drop shipping businesses, they are not real entrepreneurs in the sense that
some of them are, but
some of them, but it's some. Usually they start with this and then they transition to an actual business. But when you get started and your only idea is to make a quick buck, then what are you gonna do? You're gonna go for the cheapest product, so you can have the biggest margin, right?
And you're not going to last. That's a short-term game.
Of course
you're
not.
If you do make money, you're not going to last.
When I tell customers that on our stores we have in average 23% returning customers, I said,
that's pretty good.
What?
I don't know what to compare that to, but it sounds pretty good.
I mean, usually if you have 1% in drop shipping, you're happy.
Okay, nice.
That's what it means.
Yes.
So yes, there is an investment. We have, our customer service is here in Colorado Springs. It's not in India or somewhere else.
Nice.
So that we can actually give this good quality, this good customer relation to our customers, and they praise it. I mean, they talk about it. Our products online, we don't even need to answer questions when we have haters, right? Our customers do it for us.
Yes.
Because they like what they get when they work with our stores. They get a great product, and everything. Lately, we've sold thousands and thousands of face masks that are assembled here in the United States. And people were just so happy with the quality and everything. Now, you can find drop shipping stores selling face masks that you're going to receive in like 6 weeks, if so, right?
Yeah.
And they're just tiny, they're just going to fit like this and
fall apart.
Yeah, fall apart and everything. Ours come with a 5-year warranty.
Those blue ones, the strings are glued onto it.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's not made to last, though.
No.
Ours are cloth masks and everything. So, and they come with a 5-year warranty. If you break it, we replace it. See? Nice. So not everybody does that. We work with an insurance company that looks at the quality of the products, and then we pay, of course, the warranty. But they give it to us. I mean, some of the products that these dropshippers sell, they would never cover it because they know it's going to keep breaking all the time.
Yes.
So that's really the mindset you have in your business. Do you want to go after the cheap buck? We usually avoid working with these kind of people in our agency because they're never going to be happy anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the thing. You really want to select customers that are going to be happy working with you. And I remember a friend of mine in 2008, he had a business, and he said, when I have a PIA customer, so pain in the customer, right? Pain in the ass customer.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
I charge them more. I charge them like a lot more. So if
For
if they go with me, at least I make the money.
Typically, it's interesting how that is though. Like the pain in the ass customers are usually the ones that want to pay the least.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you charge more.
Yeah.
So then they don't
You can
come
weed
with
them
you.
out, yeah.
But that's what I did for some time back in France, and then it was not even worth it. You know, you really want to work with people who connect with you, and that's how you get good results. You cannot make everybody happy.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what I've learned, and that's what my mentors told me that at the beginning, but I wanted to ignore it for some reason.
yeah, because you say, hey, the more customers I can get, the more money I can make. No, it's not
doesn't
worth
work
it.
like that.
Because then you're gonna have a bad reputation anyways. Because these people are never gonna be happy.
Yeah.
They might be happy with someone else. It doesn't mean they're unhappy with everybody. They're just not gonna be happy with you, which is fine.
For sure.
So it's always an assessment, you know. And even with salespeople, that's how we work. You know, make sure that this person is going to be a good match for us as a team. Not just you, not just me, but us as a team.
Exactly.
I don't want someone that I had one day in France who was awesome with us. I mean, we really did a good work, but it was so horrible to the low-level employees, you know, like the woman I had at the front desk, for example. It was just like not even high, not like she doesn't exist. Because
I can't work with people like that.
I personally don't like that.
I
and
don't
everybody
want
on the
to.
team
Yeah.
is as important as others. I mean, we all the same. We're all working together.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, we worked on, and COVID-19 kind of helped as well. We have a team around, we have people in different places in the States, and we also have people outside of the country, you know, looking for talents. I don't care where they're from. I don't care what color. I don't care what language they speak, you know, as long as we get the right people who share the same passion. So that's something about Colorado Springs. It's difficult to find talents in the area we work, right?
Okay.
I mean, in the industry we work in. We really struggle finding people who are involved and skilled when it comes to marketing and tech and everything. I guess, and it kind of makes sense, right? Because you don't live in Colorado Springs to find a big marketing company, or so you'd rather be in Denver or in Los Angeles and New York.
For sure. Yeah.
Over there, we had there's no shortage of people with these skills.
Oh yeah.
But the reason we moved here is just because people are awesome. I love it here. I mean,
same here.
Yeah, I mean, they're just people. They're not superficial. You can really create a relationship, and I can tell you that even in customer support, that makes all the difference in the world. Because now our customers talk to Colorado people who are nice, who are willing to help, who are, we know them, right? They're all around us. You cannot get that in Los Angeles, like ever. Or New York.
I've heard that.
Well, just go spend some time over there. But you cannot get that. You're gonna find people just always scrambling for the money.
Have you seen that meme?
Running after it.
In the New York, where it's like, I love being in New York, and someone yells across the street, hey, fuck you.
Well, that would be Paris as well.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, any big city is pretty much much like this. So that's why and how we came to Colorado Springs.
For sure. I like it here too. It reminds me of home.
Yep.
But yeah, I'd love to keep this conversation going. It's been fantastic, but I do have to start wrapping it up. If you'd love to come back on sometime later, we'd love to have you back
why
on.
Not? If there's anything interesting, of course, I'd be happy.
Is there anything you'd like to promote specifically?
Not really. You know, I didn't come here for promotion, more for an exchange with you.
For sure, yeah. And I think that's why it's been I've already set a record, I think, longest guest on the
Really?
show. Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. And the only reason I got to cut it off because I have to keep my day flowing.
No worries.
I edit these. If I didn't edit them, I'd probably let them go a lot longer.
No, but that would be too long to watch, anyways. And then people have to deal with my delightful, sexy French accent.
Hey, it's awesome. I think people are gonna love
and
it.
I can increase it like this and speak more French.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the length matters actually because what the cool thing about podcast is you can always pause it
That's
and then
true.
pick it back up later.
That's true. So yeah, anytime. I mean, it's always interesting. And,
Yeah.
and we're looking for business people in town that are, because there's two realities. And I'm sorry if I just gonna take a minute.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Keep going.
There's kind of two realities in Colorado Springs, right? You have people who want Colorado Springs to be a slow-paced business city and blah, blah, blah. And then you have those who say, yeah, I can live in a slow-paced city, but it doesn't mean that I want my business to be slow-paced. Right?
Yes.
It's two different things. And there is no reason why you should have a slow business just because you live in Colorado Springs. You can have a thriving, fast business, making
Abundance
lots of
everywhere.
money. Yeah, exactly, in Colorado Springs. Jack Ma, when he created Alibaba, he didn't do it in Shanghai or Beijing. He did it in Hangzhou. And Hangzhou at the time was a tiny little town.
Okay.
So because of Alibaba, now there's, I don't know, like 13 or 14 million people in
Holy.
Hangzhou. Yeah, I mean, this is China. I just don't have the same
Yeah.
numbers. But all I'm saying is that he created Alibaba, a tech company, in a small village, right? And so it's possible. You can have
Well,
a
compared to
business here
13
and
million,
make
New
lots.
York is a small village.
Yeah, well, I went to New York early September, and that's the feed. I never went to New York
Okay.
before. It was my first
I
time.
haven't been yet either.
And I said, "Wow, okay, I love the energy,
Okay.
right? But in terms of city and buildings, and I say that's so old. You know, I went to many different cities in China where everything is pretty much new.
It's newer built,
It's
newer
new.
engineers.
Yeah, I mean,
things
it's-
look modern.
It's super modern, like
Yeah,
to a level that people don't realize what China really is. You know, we understand China based on what we see on TV, and it's like it's a communist country. So the assumption is it's not a communist country at
Yeah,
all.
and we don't even see much.
No, the only thing you see
yeah.
is military people parading, and that's what you see of China.
I think what they described it as communist tendencies, or
No, not even.
Okay.
I mean, it's probably even more capitalist than America to some
Oh, wow.
extent. Except they don't call themselves a capitalist country because money cannot buy power. That's the
Okay.
big difference, right? People don't get elected over there. They're chosen just because they're good. And I can tell you, when you speak to a mayor in China, it's a lot different than talking to a mayor
it's like
in
talking to a
Europe and here.
lieutenant or something.
No, not at all. You're talking to someone extremely smart.
Oh, okay.
They're not military at all, but they are really, really, really smart.
Okay.
That's what makes them so effective, right? Now there's, of course, not everything is awesome, but you can live in China and feel very, very free, and grow a business and make millions and billions of dollars. You can do all of that in China, just like you can do it here. Of course, there's cultural differences,
For sure.
but I always like to talk about it because people, especially in the States, I mean Europe as well, but it's probably more true here because of all the tensions, you know,
Yes.
between China and the United States, that people don't realize what China really is, and if you don't realize what China really is, how can you compete? And the way we are working in competition with China in business,
We're gonna need to know that.
we need to know exactly
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
going on over there.
For
We
sure.
need to know that these guys, when they're young, they don't hang out, go drink, and go fishing. They work. You know, we had someone got a job, full-time jobs on 4 days, right? So long days, and said, "Can I take a second job with you guys after this one?" No, you can't.
No.
But that's the way they are. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just it's a very interesting place. Not everything is perfect, but just like in any country, right? You have goods and you have bads. When you're creative, it's definitely better here. But if you really want to scale a business, China can do that.
For sure.
And that's the people we are competing against. You know, like
Yeah.
when I think a big mistake that was made lately was forbidding chip makers to sell chipsets to Chinese companies like Intel and all these guys. You cannot sell your chips, your processors to China anymore. Because of the trade war, right? The reason it's a mistake is that the Chinese, they see yin and yang, right? So there's a negative thing, or we cannot get the parts anymore. But then the government says, all right, that's an opportunity as well. Let's create our own. So they release billions of dollars asked the banks to lend billions of dollars, gave grants and everything for companies to start building chips. So in a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, they're going to be at level, if not better, in making chips. But the second problem is there's a lot of them. So what's going to happen? The prices are going to drop. So I would not invest in Intel or AMD on the stock market for the long run right now.
The prices are going to drop.
They're going to drop like crazy. And I mean, it's great for, globally speaking, it's great
that's the great thing about capitalism.
Exactly. That's what it is. But you see, that's a short-term decision made because people have a short-term agenda. When you work in politics in any democratic country, you work on your term. So 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is, right? And these people, no, because they're not elected. So they work on a 100-year program. They work long-term. And if there's a sacrifice to make now for better results in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, they do it. And I think when you compete with people like this, we also need to come to a level, at least in the business, right, as business owners, is also thinking about long term.
Yes.
And that's, you know, what I think to some extent we are doing in our business is try to work long term, because we still have a competitive advantage when we go anywhere. Like in Africa, you know, China invests a lot of money in Africa building roads and railroads and everything. Like they're selling the wars just by bringing infrastructure. You know, we brought food, they bring infrastructure. We gave them fish, they teach them how to fish. So that's the big difference. So now we come on the market now in Africa. If they have to choose between working with a Chinese company or working with a French guy or an American company, they will go with us before they go with the Chinese, just because of the cultural understanding. So it's if you really understand what you're dealing with, all I'm saying is that you can get much better results. We can get better results as a country. We can get better results in our own businesses.
For sure.
On this amazing market over there, it's huge. So
well, yeah,
you see, that's just the thought behind it. Is that you see, that's the kind of things we do when we help people in business. Is really understanding the real tendencies and not just what you see on TV. Is what the reality looks
nice.
Sell in Africa, it's a huge market. They spend a lot of money now.
Oh yeah,
people don't know that. They think Africa is poor. There's a brand started selling watches for $200. Right? They make them in China for $5. They sell them for $200 in China, in Africa, and they sell out everything.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's kind of like Supreme. I don't know why they
it's just, you know, when you're in a country where everybody was making $60 a month in salary, and all of a sudden you have people starting making $100, $200, $300, $400, then they spend all this additional money because they don't need it. They used to work on 60, right? So they start spending it, and and that's exactly what happened in China 30 years ago. You know, when you talk to people who were there growing their business at the time, you could go in the street and sell shoes and make lots of money just because of the GDP growth.
Yeah, Africa's about to blow up.
It definitely is. Even Dorsey, you know, the CEO at Twitter, he said that he wants to go spend 3 months in Africa just to better understand the dynamics of the market, because everybody says, all right, it's about to start really growing, like really, really growing.
A lot of cultures coming out.
Yeah. So it's, and you as an American entrepreneur can work in Africa. It's easier for you than it is for a European. It's easier for you because people don't have the same perception. Yes. But at the same time, it's more difficult because Americans are not as open to other cultures as Europeans, because they live so close to one another. Right? Now you have the United States and then Canada. It's the same thing. It's just a different flag, but people are very similar. Now you have Mexico. Nobody wants to go there for some reason, but you don't really have this. Where I was born in eastern France. I mean, you just take your car, drive for 10 minutes, you're in Germany.
Oh wow!
You drive for an hour, you're in Belgium, or you're in Switzerland, and then you have different cultures and everything.
For sure.
So people are more used to working with different cultures than especially small businesses in the United States. But whatever the business you have, you can expand it to Europe, to African markets, to even to China. I mean, it's just think about the potential when you start selling your product to 1.5 billion people instead of selling it just to 300 million people. Right? That's why people should, how about I do that now?
I need to figure out how I can make my company scalable.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it's not really scalable.
Oh,
like
it is
that.
totally scalable.
Yeah.
It's just
True
that's just a blockade you have, but
All right,
it's
well, I'll
totally
have to-
scalable.
I'll have to
We're
nail
gonna
that
hang
down.
up and then we talk about it.
Yeah. All right, so this has been the Colorado Springs Business Podcast with Mike Beck, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.